1.20 is now in its pre-release phase, which means no more features are going to be added anymore. So let's talk about what's actually been promised originally for the update, and how much they've overdone themselves. Because all of this stuff wasn't originally planned. They added this just throughout the updates. Like, it was obviously announced when it was added, but originally, for 1.20, it was not planned. They didn't say it so anyway. So, we're going to start things off with the calibrated skulk sensor. These boys, I don't actually know how to work them, I just know that they do stuff with redstone. And you need amethyst to make them. They don't spawn naturally anywhere, they can only be crafted. And you can put them in any direction. Our next feature is the cherry grove biome in itself. This entire tree wouldn't exist without this update. And they didn't actually add this for a really long time, because this was on Minecraft suggestions for a really long time. But they finally did get around to adding it. Also, archaeology was actually planned for 1.17, but then they cancelled it, and they said they might revisit it later, and that seems to be what they've done in this update. Archaeology has been added. I could also add some sus sand and sus gravel here, but hot. Because that's pretty much the definition of the archaeology stuff is. Apart from other loot you can get from the suspicious stuff. Our next point will be the piglin head. This whole model, I like it. It's got a really weird shape, so it's very different to the other heads. I don't quite have a use for it, but at the same time I don't really have a use for any of the heads. But now I do have a use for it, because the next thing they added is mob sounds on note blocks. So a mob's head, so this is only the heads that are already in the game, on top of a note block, it will actually play that mob's sound. So if we just... That's from the note block. So they've added that now. They've also added armor trimming. This was completely out of nowhere, but I like it. You can put anything in any way onto this. The only downside is now you need to use a smithing template for netherite upgrade to get netherite stuff, but that doesn't mean you can't use your netherite somewhere else. And also you can dye leather armor, if you were wondering what that is, and then trim it. So it really is cool. They also added a trail ruin structure, but I don't actually have access to that now, because I haven't found one. I don't even know where to look for them. I just know that it is in this update. It's like some kind of archaeology thing, obviously. Yes, that's what that is. I know what it looks like ish. It's basically like it's kind of buried and stuff. Don't know where to look for it though. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to look that up somewhere else. I'm a little bit useless on that. The next thing we're gonna talk about is new music disc. Back in the day, updates didn't actually have music being regularly added. It used to only happen every now and again. But now, music is being added very much regularly. Which I like that, because it's more variety in what you're going to listen to, and every update has its own kind of theme tune, if you know what I mean. So, this one is Relic. I keep thinking it's Runelic for some reason. It's Relic, okay? It sounds cool. We like Relic. Also, again, they've got another composer this time for the music. There are also 3 other ambient soundtracks now. There are A Familiar Room, Bromeliad, and Crescent Dunes. Oh no, wait, 4, because Echo in the Wind as well. So there are actually 4 new ambient soundtracks. I can't actually play them right now, but do look them up. I like Crescent Dunes the most out of them. Because this is the 4th update in a row to have new music. Back in the day it was just C418. Doesn't mean that music's been removed, but he's not making any more. Our next thing that they've added is actually very recent. Double-sided signs. We have side A and side B. And you can have different stuff on both sides, which is very much nice. And they've also added editing signs. You can now edit signs, obviously unique to both sides, and colored signs, which is nice, I guess. I approve. The next thing they've done is remove potion glints. This is actually a water breathing potion, and back before this it would have the same kind of glint that an enchanted book has. So it would have the purple stuff. It doesn't have that anymore. It's just basic potion colors, and it looks all very dry and dead, and we don't like it. But now we're also going to talk about how little they actually did promise. They said that we would get the sniffer, camels, bamboo wood, hanging signs, and chiseled bookshelves. We got all of the things, plus everything that I've just talked about. So they have really overdone themselves in this update. Then the last thing they actually did with this update, that they didn't officially announce at the start, is the actual name of the update. They didn't name the update. We just called it the unnamed update for so long. And to be specific, we called it the unnamed update for 138 days. Before we finally got the name Trails and Tales. Which, I mean, I see why they waited so long. Because they didn't want to underpromise, but within the name itself, like the wild update wasn't wild at all. But 138 days is much too long to wait. Once they added archaeology, and the sniffer, and camels, and chiseled bookshelves, it all tied it together. They could have named it way back then. But they waited far too long for that. Anyways, I will now stop talking. I will now say goodbye. And I will now go, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.